High Court in Pietermaritzburg is set to hear an application from French arms company Thales to halt their prosecution and be acquitted in the Jacob Zuma corruption trial dating back to the 1999 arms deal. Thales is arguing that the deaths of two key witnesses make it impossible to mount a defense. Former President Jacob Zuma is also seeking to join that application, but at the same time, Judge Nkosinathi Chili is set to deliver his ruling on Zuma's request to appeal the refusal, or the refusal actually, to remove lead prosecutor Advocate Billy Downer from this case. Watching all these moving parts, and it's a few of them, is SABC News reporter Simphiwe Makhanya, who joins us now live from the High Court in Pietermaritzburg. And Simphiwe, it's sometimes difficult to keep up given how many times we've been there for this trial. Help us place today what we're likely to hear and what the implications are for this decades-long case.
It's been an incredibly long case here at the Pietermaritzburg High Court. But as you correctly indicated in your introduction, we're expecting today that Judge Nkosinathi Chili will hand down the judgment with regards to the leave to appeal, the recusal of lead prosecutor Advocate Billy Downer. And thereafter, then he will hear arguments that have to do with the acquittal of the arms manufacturer Thales that have basically said that they want their charges to be acquitted. They want to be acquitted of the charges rather because of the fact that this particular matter has dragged on for such a long time, which has resulted in the deaths of two of their key witnesses. But allow me, Ayanda, to interact with the National Prosecuting Authority, that's Advocate Nkosinathi, just to get a sense of their anticipation today. Thank you so much, Advocate, for your time. It's been a long journey coming to this point. Of course, we'll start with the judgment that is expected from Judge Chili. Help us understand the stance that the NPA is going to take if indeed that particular judgment does not favor the NPA.
Let's not even speculate or waste time on this. The judgment is definitely going to be in favor of the NPA. The judge will dismiss the application for leave to appeal, given the fact that there is nothing new in terms of the grounds that they are basing their application on, including the arguments that they presented the last time the matter was heard. You will also recall that this court, before Judge Kuhn, had ruled against them and dismissed the application as lacking merit and therefore baseless. They went to the Supreme Court of Appeal and they lost. Then they applied for a reconsideration of that decision to the President of the Supreme Court of Appeal, who dismissed their reconsideration application. They then approached the apex court in the land, the Constitutional Court, and they lost there as well. And therefore, all the courts in South Africa has pronounced on this. They are making a second attempt, which to me, I think it's a futile exercise because they're not going to win.
Advocate Maka, let's put matters into perspective. We are here because the NPA does not want to actually remove lead prosecutor Advocate Billy Downer as the lead prosecutor in this particular case. It has taken for so long to get to this point. It's one appeal after another. Is the NPA willing to take some responsibility for the delays that we have seen in this particular matter?
How do we take responsibility for people that have been found to have abused process, which clearly demonstrates to you that there are no grounds or valid or solid grounds upon which the National Director can remove Advocate Billy Downer, because he remains unblemished. When the court makes an adverse finding that this has been an abuse of process, it tells you clearly that this is an unreasonable delay orchestrated by Mr. Zuma to delay the proper administration of justice. How do you then expect the National Prosecuting Authority to take responsibility for that? That's absurd.
Let's talk about this application that has been brought by Thales for the acquittal on the charges. Of course, they are citing the fact that two of their key witnesses have since passed on. You are opposing that particular application. Help us understand why.
In 2018, before the full court here, they applied to Thales for a permanent stay of prosecution, which in essence is similar because they're saying, stop prosecuting us. That application was based on the fact that one of the witnesses who had played a crucial role in the scheme of things was terminally ill, therefore unavailable to testify. The court found that application to be meritless and that there will be no prejudice on their part, and it does not encroach on their constitutional right to a fair trial, and dismissed it in 2019. So it's a rehash of that application, albeit being in terms of section 6B, which if they are granted will entitle them to an acquittal. We will vigorously oppose that application because we believe that is a repetition of what was dismissed in 2018 or 2019 rather, and that they are partly to blame for the delay in this proceedings.
Thank you so much for your time, Advocate Mthunzi Mahaka. There he speaks on behalf of the NPA. I'm aware that we are out of time, but of course, let us speak to the spokesperson of the Jacob Zuma Foundation, Mr. Mzwanele Manye, also to get his view on this particular court case that we're attending today. Mr. Zuma has been accused of the Stalingrad tactics. Just your response on that particular aspect.
Yeah, it's quite unfortunate that today the application is by Thales. It's Thales that is saying that they can't proceed because of the demise of the other witnesses. Now, for that to now be made a Zuma issue is quite telling that there is this narrative that continues to blame President Zuma for things that he's got nothing to do with. You know, I mean, even this 20-year period of this trial, about half of that, about 10 years of that, it was an issue between the DA and the NPA over spy tape issues. But all of that is put to President Zuma. So indeed, President Zuma has become the fall guy for everything. So your intro here speaks to that as well. That is just President Zuma must just be blamed for whatever. You know, that's what it is.
If the judgment today does not favor former President Jacob Zuma, what is going to be your next course of action?
Look, I think the issue of President Zuma being denied justice by the courts of this country has become a default position. So if the judgment does not favor us today, we will not be surprised. We will continue to look at the other legal instruments to see how to process that. But obviously lawyers, in consultation with His Excellency President Zuma, will decide on that. But I can assure you that despite the flaws in the legal system, the foundation will advise President Zuma to continue exploiting all the avenues of the law to achieve justice.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
That's Mr. Mzwanele Manye. He speaks for the Jacob Zuma Foundation here at the Pietermaritzburg High Court.